All right, let's talk about a comeback story for the ages. It's one that holds lessons for just about anyone trying to navigate a world that will not stop changing. So I want you to picture this, a massive retail giant on the absolute brink of collapse, basically written off by everyone. Now, picture that same company thriving today. This is the incredible story of how Best Buy survived.
So you gotta wonder, right? How did they pull this off? I mean, not that long ago, Best Buy was getting hammered, just pummeled by online Goliaths like Amazon. Their stores became these expensive showrooms, you know the drill. People would come in, play with the latest tech, get all their questions answered, and then go home and buy it for a few bucks cheaper online. It was a total death spiral. So what on earth changed?
I mean, this timeline really says it all. It is a complete roller coaster. Back in the late 90s, if you were buying electronics, you were probably going to Best Buy. They were the undisputed king. But then, fast forward to 2012, and they were toast. Sales were in a free fall, stores were closing, it was bleak. And yet, look at them now, thriving. It's a seriously incredible turnaround.
Okay, to really get how they did this, we have to zoom out a little and talk about a core business idea. Here's the thing. No company, I don't care how big or small, exists in a bubble. The world outside is always shifting, and that creates brand new threats, but also brand new opportunities.
Now, in business speak, they call this the marketing environment. It's just a fancy term for all the stuff outside a company that messes with their ability to connect with customers. But don't worry about the jargon. To make it super simple, let's just break it down into two different worlds.
I love this analogy because it makes it so clear. Think of a business as a boat on the ocean. The microenvironment is everything right there in and around your boat. Your crew, your supplies, maybe some fish swimming by. You can touch it, you can interact with it. But the macro environment, whoa, that's the big stuff. That's the weather, the massive ocean currents, the hurricanes. You can't control it, but you absolutely have to navigate it if you want to stay afloat. So let's start with that inner circle, the stuff that's close to home. Before Best Buy could do anything else, it had to get a solid handle on its immediate world, its microenvironment.
So, who's in this inner circle? Well, it starts right inside the company. All the different departments have to be on the same page. Then you've got your suppliers, your distributors, and of course, your competitors. You also have to think about the media, the government, and the most important player of all, your customers. Best Buy had to take a hard look at every single one of these relationships. And this quote right here, this absolutely nails Best Buy's problem. Their main competitor, Amazon, had totally rewritten the rules. In people's minds, Best Buy was the place you go to see things. Amazon was the place you go to buy things. That is a losing position, and they knew they had to change that perception, like yesterday.
But, you know, as big a threat as Amazon was, the truly massive waves rocking Best Buy's boat weren't even coming from their direct competitors. They were coming from those huge, uncontrollable forces, the macro environment. This is where the real battle was being fought.
And to navigate these huge forces, you have to start with one thing: people. That's all demography is. It's just the study of human populations, how many there are, where they live, how old they are. Because at the end of the day, people make up the market.
And just look at this generational split. It's so obvious that a one-size-fits-all approach just doesn't work anymore, right? A Gen Z customer who's literally never known a world without a smartphone has completely different expectations than a baby boomer. If a company misses that, they're in serious trouble.
And get this, it's not just about what generation you're in. The whole idea of the average American household has been completely upended. That so-called traditional family with kids, it's now less than a fifth of all households. This fundamentally changes who you're selling to and what they actually need.
And check out this number, $3.7 trillion. That's the estimated global spending power of the LGBTQ+ community. This just drives home the point that understanding and connecting with diverse communities isn't just a social issue. It is a massive economic force that no business can afford to ignore. But for a company like Best Buy, oh man, this was the big one, the technological environment. The explosion of the internet and smartphones didn't just create another competitor. It created the very behavior, showrooming, that was bleeding them dry. For them, technology was the poison. But as we're about to see, it also turned out to be the cure.
Okay, so you're in that boat and you're in the middle of a storm of all these huge changes. What do you do? Well, when you boil it all down, a company really has two choices.
You can be reactive. You basically see the storm as something you just have to suffer through, and you try to adapt as best you can. Or you can be proactive. You can decide to grab the wheel, maybe build a better engine, and actually try to influence the environment yourself. You try to steer your own course.
And this is exactly where Best Buy got brilliant. They went proactive. They looked at the new world and said, okay, what do we have that the internet doesn't? The answer? Real, live, human beings with expertise. So first move, they started matching online prices. Boom. The biggest reason to leave the store was just gone. Then they partnered with huge brands like Apple and Samsung to create these awesome store-within-a-store experiences. But the masterstroke? They invested in their people, training them to be real advisors who could help you figure out how all this tech fits into your actual life. They didn't just fight showrooming, they embraced it and turned their biggest weakness into their greatest strength.
So let's bring this all home, because this story isn't just about selling TVs and laptops. Not really. It's a lesson that applies to any company, any team, or heck, even to your own career.
The bottom line is this: nobody operates in a vacuum. Not a giant corporation, not you, not me. We're all being pushed and pulled by those small factors we can't influence and those huge forces we have to navigate. And simply understanding that environment, that is the absolute first step to not just surviving, but actually thriving.
And that leaves us with one last big question for you to think about. What are the big unseen forces shaping your world right now? In your work, in your life, what are the currents and the winds? And the real question is, are you just reacting and letting the waves push you around, or are you ready to grab the wheel and start shaping your own environment?